first and foremost today, Brian, I think we got to talk about United States East. Their CPT event is coming up. That is, of course, the last event of the year. So that's going to be after Europe East, which we have here today. And that run is just absolutely ridiculous. You got Kudo. It's hard to believe that Kudo burst onto the scene recently this year and is now one of the biggest threats in this region, one of the stronger Chun-Li players. But Kudo, Adam, of course, who finally woke up to make sure he signs up for these World Warrior programs. Punk the God, Knuckle Do Dang. It's hard to call who's gonna take this. And my dark horse is I'm not playing Ultimate Weapon. I'm dead serious with that.
Well,
He's
good
cooking.
you picked him and not Knuckle Dude, because that's the big story, right? Knuckle Dude was like coming from behind, trying to lap everybody to qualify for the World Warrior event. He actually got second in the last event and a really close set to Kudo there in the grand finals, but he wasn't able to reach the bracket. Punk actually put him in losers. They tried to pick the Dan on him. I'm not sure what that's about, but Knuckle Dude moved on. But yeah, he actually only finished, let's see here. Knuckle Dude only finished 10th in the points, and that's not
crazy.
due to trying. You know, he had a 7th and a 2nd as he started to gear up and get into prime form in the final events. But yeah, kind of too little too late, right? He started getting a little late in the game, and World Warrior, definitely an event that is rewarding consistency. So that said, he's not even in this World Warrior regional finals, which it just goes to show how like tight this race is in this region at the end of the season. Right. Exactly. So, I mean, they're back to back. I mean, it's at the very tail end. And in the World Warrior events, Ultimate Weapon, he was the number one seed or number one ranked player in this region for a long time, starting off with the first place to start the season. Amazingly strong Balrog player. It's super awesome to watch him play. Very clean. But that said, Kudo started to clean up. You know, he had a bunch of wins over Punk here and there in these brackets. Punk with a 3rd place finish overall for the season. Idom at least managed to qualify. Thank you, Idom, for entering and showing up, because this is important. We have players like Kudo, Punk, Idom, Knuckle Do Dang, and then, you know, the people like Arturo, you know, NYC Furby, who could easily cause an upset. Is it really an upset?
Art,
you know,
we didn't even say Art. You right?
Art's in there. Space Boy, who's been getting wins over all these players here and there. Space Boy has been doing really well in this later end of the season here. And Mylan qualified, and Deadeye Artist also qualified, who've had wins over all these players as well. So it's not like any one of these players has a guaranteed path either in the regional finals for the World Warrior or in the CPT event. So there's only 2 spots for this region. Think of all those names I just mentioned. Only 2 spots to split between them.
It feels messed up to say, but I'm kind of rooting for an Ultimate Weapon or somebody, or, you know, Ultimate Weapon or Mylan or Space Boy or Deadeye Artist.
An upset in the regional final?
Please.
That CPT event.
Oh my God, that'd be so hype. But then that means that one of those players don't go to Cup, you know. But I'm sorry, to end off the year with that right there, like, Punk not in yet, Adam not in yet. We already seen that happen before, and that was extremely high. I'm the definition of clutch.
Amazing.
You know, that was a CPT classic match right there. And then now Knuckle Do right there in the fray, Arturo and all these guys, Ultimate Weapon, like, oh my God, yeah. I'm sorry, bro. I hope Ultimate Weapon wins this, or Art or somebody like that. That'd be.
Or
better.
maybe a Space Boy. Honestly, Space Boy might be my dark horse. He's been playing really well lately, and has really adapted to the Luke meta a bit here, and he still cycles in all his other roster of characters. So you can't call it in this region. There's guaranteed to be no lame duck matches, right? Like there's no. This is guaranteed. Yeah. We're not going to get Punk out in the regional finals in Idom and CPT. No matter which way you slice it, both of these events are going to matter for people who really have a lot on the line to qualify for the Cup. So it is definitely the region to look out for. And I guess it worked out. There's a reason why it's the finale for the CPT season. But another highly contested region is, of course, Japan. World Warrior Japan. And the point spread is so tight compared to all these other regions. You get 50 for first place, right? So in Japan, Higuchi is still in first place. He has a first place finish, a 3rd and a 9th. Then we have John Takuchi with 91 points. He has a 1st, a 2nd, and a 17th. Then we have Shudo, who has a 2nd, a 1st, and a 25th. And those are the 3 winners, right? So Fudo is also in there with a 9th, a 49th, and a 3rd, but beneath that in the 4th place spot, right? With 51 points. So it drops off 91 to 51. Then we have Fujimura tied, 51. Yamaguchi tied, 51. Tokido in 7th with 50. And then Gachikun and Pugera are tied for 8th with 46. And below that is Otani with 42, and it just keeps going in the 40s. The bottom end of this
You gotta make sure you bring up the
region,
GOAT. My man Daigo is at 11th place right now.
I had to scroll a little bit more. He's tied there with 41, with 41 points in 11th. So it's so tight. Like this race, like the bottom end of this bracket could easily be upset in the next upcoming events. Like we actually cannot call what this final top 8 is going to look like. The interesting storyline here, though, the people who are actually kind of a little bit cozy, Shudo, Takeuchi, Higuchi, all young bucks in the scene, all taking the first place victories, and everyone else is scrambling for seconds here to secure their spot. So it's really highly contested.
It's so weird, bro, seeing like Daigo not guaranteed to be in this top 8. He's tied with Mago of all players. Imagine saying that. Top 8 of your region qualifies for this final tournament, and Daigo and Mago are tied and not in the top 8.
The person they're tied with is Moruto, the Dan player.
Wow.
They're fighting to get into the regional finals over Street Fighter V dance specialist Moruto.
Will it ever change, bro? Like, will this ever not be the number 1 region? Because come on, look at this. We can't argue, man. Yesterday when we were talking about the whole execution debate, one of the people you brought up, of course, the GOAT when it comes to execution, Sako, he's not in it right now. Yeah, this region is definitely, I would say, tied for the top 1 most exciting region in the world. Maybe it's a 3-way tie, because the other one that's as exciting, which kind of transitions to the next point I want to talk about with this, is Europe. And of course, the competition is great, but for me, it's just a story of Enden Walker. Like, he's dominating it, but it's not like people expected him to do that.
No.
For him to win every single event, no one would have bet money on that starting it. People wouldn't even probably bet money on him being in first place, at least by a lot.
I think when we started this, you're taking me down a trip down memory lane, right? When we started this, one of the first events we covered was the World Warrior, where Ending Walker won. And we're like, oh, look at that. That's great. The young online player doing big things. And honestly, I'm getting almost bored of celebrating his success. And it's only been a couple of months. It's been less than a year. He has been winning nonstop. In fact, I do want to give a shout out to a few other players who've done really well in the regions. He's only going to be matching that feat by Vega Patch. So only 2 regions do we have people who are winning every event.
With Vega Patch, I just gotta say, so often, like I feel for you guys who play these weirdo oddball characters like Vega, not Vega, but like Fang and whatnot. Yeah, bro, why do you stop calling yourself Vega Patch? Then you gotta make me look silly on camera
every time. Vega Patch,
you get all of us. The first thing that's gonna pop in people's mind, understandably so, and there's some truth to it, is this character is uncommon. You're not looking for him, whatever. That's what makes it special to me when I see Vega Patch winning all of his events. Because these players he's going against, they know what's coming. They know that he's the guy to beat. They must be trying their best to study the matchup. Unless Vega Patch is over there on some, I refuse to play with anyone. Like you load up with Vega Patch and he's picking like Dawson or freaking Ryu or something like that. You never can play his Fang, but I doubt he does anything like that. He cares about building his region up. So that just goes to show how strong he is. I understand, and I'm all with, it's no neutral, right? We keep it a buck. I'm all with acknowledging the fact that weird characters do have some out there advantages in some ways as far as people not knowing the matchup, but stuff like this shows and proves that he's that good at Street Fighter.
It's consistency. You can't deny it. He's dominating the region. Like, what can you say? Even Ed used to kind of fall into that category. And the funny thing is, it's like, once the character is dominant enough, they're no longer weird. They're just, it's another day in the office, right? So
that's true.
But Vega Patch rocking the Fang has shown that it's not just about the quirkiness or weirdness of the character. They've had time to study. They've had time to learn. He's just dominant. And Vega Patch, Ending Walker, congrats on being, I think, the only 2 mathematical people who can have an undefeated streak across all 5 events. So I know a few other people got pretty close. Chris TCH was aiming to do that. He got pretty close, but he got a 4th recently. I know that was, he came on the show and said he was aiming to get first in every event, but he has 1 more to go, so maybe he can have that 1 blemish on his record, a 4th in between all the first. And then leading into this current region in Europe East, Mirkin actually has an extremely strong run in their World Warrior events. He has 3 first place finishes, a 3rd, and a 2nd. So leading into the CPT event, he's looking in prime form to take it, because that is well above and beyond the rest of the competition in terms of consistency.